Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for rejoining us for our first plenary session of the day, AgTech, Financing and Insurance, the Catalyst of Digital Farming. I see that I have my fellow panelists on board already. How are you, Mr. Navin, Mr.
Great.
Taufik, and Mr. Obata?
Great. Thank you, Shubhra.
Alhamdulillah,
you.
very good, very good. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be having this plenary session, and the format of this session is actually going to be a very short presentation from each panelist, whereby I think they'll share with you a little bit about themselves and a little bit about the organization that they're with. And after 3 or 5 minutes, we will go on to the discussion portion of our panel. Yeah. So please, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to put your questions in the Q&A session, in the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen. And we will do our best to address every single one of the questions. Yeah. So with me today, I will formally introduce all of you, and we'll have a little surprise video here playing shortly. So I will introduce my first panelist, Mr. Navin Sinatambi, Head of Digital AgTech Sectorial Projects and Drone Tech at MDEC Malaysia. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on board. Encik Muhammad Taufik Mahmud Zakaria, Chief Sustainability and Transformation Officer at Agro Bank. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on board. And Mr. Hideki Obata, General Manager, Food and Agri-Business Planning Division, Norinchukin Bank, Japan. Thank you, Obata-san, for coming on board. Yeah. So we'll have our little surprise playing now. Thank you very much. All right, gentlemen, thank you for coming here and sharing your ideas. I hope that everyone is doing well today. We've had a very engaging session so far from this morning. I'm not sure if any of you were able to catch some portions of it. We've had 2 keynote speakers so far. We've had the KSU of Mafi giving her opening speech. We've also had the Ketua Pengarah of DOA coming on board and giving his speech, as well as our group CEO. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think without further ado, I think I will allow Mr. Navin, our first panelist, to actually introduce himself and maybe share a little something about what MDEC is doing nowadays. Yeah, Mr. Navin.
Thank you so much, Reza, esteemed REDtone team. On behalf of the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, our heartfelt thank you for inviting us to share a little bit at the inaugural Smart Farming Conference by REDtone. Well done. I think you have done a wonderful job. So without further ado, my name is Navin. I am the Head of Digital AgTech, Sectoral Projects and Drone Tech at MDEC. MDEC stands for Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation under the purview of KCOM, which is the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia Malaysia. The mandate of MDEC, or more of the mission, right? The mission is to drive digital transformation across all economic sectors to boost the digital economy of the nation. So that's the long story short. I know it's a lot of chatter in the plate, but yes, very interesting topic, because digital agriculture technology as the main theme of the event today is one of the key pillars of the digital economic sectors, right? So we have been doing a lot of pilot projects, national level scale programs in the agriculture space, together with Mafi, Agro Bank, Mardi, all key stakeholders. Again, a very important point to note, and very honored to say this. REDtone was actually one of the very first digital AgTech partners that we onboarded to start our pilot program to show awareness that digital AgTech is here to stay. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID was a challenging fact for everybody. Digital before this is an option, but now it's here to stay. It's more of a necessity. So a lot of projects has happened in MDEC. So we have done a lot of projects covering aquaculture, poultry, pineapple, chili, and all that. But like what Encik Reza clearly said, pilot being pilot, but when you want to scale it, elements of financing and insurance come into a very important play, right? And that's the whole idea of the discussion today. But happy to discuss further. Thank you so much for the invitation again.
Thank you, Mr. Navin. We move on to Encik Taufik, our Chief Sustainability Officer of AgroBank. Encik Taufik, if you please.
Thank you, Reza. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Taufik from AgroBank. Thank you very much for having us in this forum. It's very timely. A little bit introduction about AgroBank, or the company name is actually Bank Pertanian Malaysia Berhad. We are an agriculture development financial institution regulated and supervised by Bank Negara Malaysia. And we are, in terms of the mandated role, we are actually under the purview of the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries. So AgroBank have been here in existence for, I think, more than 53 years already, since 1969. And we are a fully private incorporated, 100% owned by Ministry of Finance since 2008. And we have successfully emerged ourselves to become a full-fledged Islamic financial institution in 2015, basically providing a more comprehensive financial solution to all agriculture operators in Malaysia, and giving them an option to ensure that whatever their offerings and in terms of halal market access, they can be more comprehensive in terms of their offering, and probably their products will be more acceptable in those markets when they are financed by an Islamic bank. So we are basically an agriculture DFI that looks at developmental aspects of agriculture, and certainly technology is one of the the key subjects that we discuss almost on daily basis. What can we do to basically support Malaysia agriculture operators to adopt technology? We have all kinds of products and programs, financing, and moving forward, there will be a lot more interesting products that we will be introducing. I think I don't mind also to make an announcement today that tomorrow is actually a very important day for AgroBank, because we are going to launch the what we call as a program modernisasi rantaian nilai agro makanan. This is Reza, a dedicated financing program for agriculture value chain technology. So whoever wants to apply for this financing, it is offered at 3.5% profit rates. I think one of the cheapest in the market, and it's reducing balance. So effectively, the effective rate is about 2%. It is launching tomorrow. The margin of financing is up to 100%. And this is including a moratorium period for 12 months, especially for those who are still affected by the COVID pandemic. And of course, we only want to consider applications that from clients who wanted to adopt 4IR technology, such as automatic sensors, smart misting, smart fertigation, and all those high-tech technology for agriculture sector. And when I speak about agriculture sector, it's not just for upstream activities, not just for growers, but also for processing and manufacturing, and not forgetting also the support sectors. So the entire value chain of agriculture sector is really a focus of AgroBank. And the program that we're going to finance tomorrow, a maximum of 1 million financing is available per client for any technology, for any technology purchase or adoptions in their businesses. So that's I think is a good news for Malaysians, especially for agriculture operators who are basically interested in this area. So that's a little bit background about myself and also the company that I'm working with, Agro Bank. We certainly we look forward to contribute, and hopefully we have a fruitful session today. Thank you. You're muted.
Thank you very much, Encik Taufik. Wow, we were not expecting that announcement, but it's very, very good news. I think it's timely. It is something that we have been looking forward to for quite a while. And we hope that with this type of initiatives, in fact, in the morning session, there were many, many questions to the panelists asking them about financing, funding, grants, and I think that this is wonderful news. Thank you so much for announcing it here at REDtone Smart Farming Virtual Conference. I think we can now move on to Mr. Obata from Norinchikun Bank. Mr. Obata, please.
Yeah, thank you for invitation. On behalf of Norinchikun, I'd like to explain a little bit about our organization, because you may not be familiar with our organization. Is there somebody who can kindly handles my presentation?
Yes, there will be a presentation will be launched soon. Just give us a moment, yeah?
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, next slide, please. Yes, Norinchikun Bank is a quite unique organization within the Japanese financial system. We are owned by farmers or fishermen or foresters. So we are having the cooperative structure, and it was set up to serve the primary sector almost 100 years ago. And probably you may know some of the major Japanese banks, Mizuho or Mitsubishi or Sumitomo. Actually, in terms of assets or network, Norinchikun is almost the same size of those peer financial institutions. So although we are focused on the primary sector, but in terms of the size of the function, we are almost the same as the other major Japanese banks. Next slide, please. And because of the historical background, we have the focus on the food and agriculture. Not all of our exposure are to the food and agriculture. We also lend money to the other sectors as well, but we put the more emphasis on the food and agriculture. And our commitment to this sector is not limited to the lending, but also we are providing consultation services or M&A advisories or research assistance, or sometimes the provide equity investment in this sector. Next slide, please. Other than lending money, we are investing our equity money into this sector, and we are having the couple of facilities for investment. As shown in the right table, we have a couple of facilities, and some are for the agricultural corporations who are actually growers, incorporated growers. And we are also investing into the AgTech or food tech startups as well. So we are quite aggressive in terms of the equity investment in Japanese food and agri sector. Next slide, please. recently we are putting more effort to nurture the startups ecosystem in Japanese food and agri space. So we set up a innovation lab called the Agri Venture Lab, and also started the acceleration program. And also at that lab, we set up recently a CVC type of investment facility as well. So we are investing money for the growers, but also injecting money to startups as well. That's a brief explanation of what we are doing in the food and ag in Japan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Obata. So I think moving on, I just wanted to double check with AgroBank if they have any slides that they want to showcase for the audience as well, or shall we go straight into the discussion?
I think we can go ahead, Reza.
Okay,
I've
all
covered
right.
most of them. Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So I think we have a lot of questions, and quite a few of the questions have already come up on the screen as well. Let me get the ball rolling. I believe our audience will have a lot of things to ask, but I would like to get down to business. I'd like to hear your views, gentlemen, on how the government and industry can work together to drive greater adoption of agriculture technology, specifically in the Malaysian context. Other than grants and subsidies, is there another way for us to incentivize our growers to adopt technology? I mean, we know that in the current state, we have a lot of issues with getting farmer employment. So getting workforce to be on the farm, and the fact that over the next 10 years, we are already experiencing about an 8% decline in farming employment every year. Yeah. So I open this to the floor, and I'd like to hear some of your thoughts on this. Maybe Mr. Navin, because you are part of the policy maker, this would be right up your alley, and then we'll follow up with Mr. Taufik and Mr. Obata.
Thank you so much. Very good question. I think that's what most participants are here to listen. So we all know agriculture technology is there. It has been validated, but now it's about how do we scale and sustain. Yeah. So for us at MDEC, together with ecosystem partners, we believe in collaborative. So all the projects, pilot projects that we do has always been in collaboration mode. That means MDEC contributes, technology companies contribute, and the demand, as in farming associations, contribute. That's where there's commitment from every party to make sure the project is successful. Now, like Tuan Taufik said earlier, it's called Program Modernisasi Rantaian Nilai Agro Makanan Negara. So for Obata-san, if I translate that in English, is the modernization program of the Malaysian food value chain. Yeah. So this is a wonderful program which is done by MAFI, Ministry of Agriculture. Bravo, well done. Why? See, last year, we know a lot of projects happened, but projects started doing as projects. It scaled a bit, but not really much. There was not moving the needle back. So what we did, so we started doing so to give you a little bit background, through the E-Ladang program or Digital AgTech program by MDEC, together with ecosystem partners, we do two things. Number one, we do a lot of digital agriculture pilot programs. So far, we have done about 15 covering chili plantation, rock melon, poultry, pineapple, palm oil, fisheries, so on and so forth, yeah, across. Why? To validate whether the technology is feasible, it's viable, it's sustainable, and it's scalable. That's one. Number two, is that enough? No. So we also started doing trainings for a lot of association of farmers on how to use technology so that they're aware that the technology works and they know how to use it. That's why we call the term development of digital farmers. Yeah. So as of last year. Then, of course, came the financing part, which is very, very crucial. So what MDEC did was we started approaching a lot of banks. Now, banks had a good amount of budget to be dispersed, but bank had a very valid problem statement. they were not sure which farmer, example agriculture, which farmer to fund or which technology to fund. So we told them, look, these are the pilot reports, come. So we brought them to site visits, spoke to farmers, understand the operational business nature and all that. Now we have onboarded about 4 banks. Definitely leading up that is Agro Bank, being the Malaysian Agriculture Bank. Yeah, together with them we have CIMB Islamic, we have Bank Pembangunan, we have Teraju for Bumiputra. For 3 different models here. Number 1, like Tuan Taufik said, a very lucrative microfinancing up to 10 years at the lowest interest rate 3.5. That's wonderful, right? Number 2, there's also collateral model, using assets as collateral to get financing. Yeah. Number 3, grant schemes. Yeah, so these are different models for farmers to select on. Now, before this, farmers had a concern, okay, which technology to go to? Now that is addressed to an extent. Now the next question is, okay, I need budget, where do I go to? That is also being addressed now. Just to reiterate a little bit of what Tuan Taufik said. So the program Modernisasi Nilai Agro Makanan Negara is wonderful. Why? It's focused very much on digital agriculture technology adoption. Now, we know through technology, you're able to improve productivity, income, reduce operational costs. Long story short, yeah. So this program, why I see it's very nice, it's not only for the farmers. Again, it's not only for the farmers or the associations. It's also for technology companies, such as REDtone themselves, to apply for this wonderful schemes for you to then expand your projects in the agriculture space. So it's for the demand and also the supply ecosystem. Like Tuan always said, up to 1 million allocation, up to 10 years, lowest interest rate 3.5. I mean, to an extent, I would say salute to Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries, MAFI, and Agro Bank for leading this. And MDEC is also pleased to announce that we were the official appointed National Digital AgTech Validator for MAFI and Agro Bank for this program Modernisasi. And wonderful is getting kicked off tomorrow. Wonderful news. Now, like I said, so these banks are now in the know that budget is there and they are ready to invest in farmers. Is that enough? Not really also. So we have got technology validated, we have banks, Agro Bank and all the other banks coming forward. Is that enough for technology companies? No. We went and a third route whereby now we're trying to do match companies together with virtual investors or technology investors to come and invest in technology partners so they can expand businesses. Because we know grant is never going to be enough to sustain. And you cannot be dependent on grant, right? It has to be a public-private partnership. We call that as PPP. Yeah. So a lot of programs are in phase, a lot of microfinancing schemes to re-emphasize again for those who are interested to adopt digital agriculture technology. You can talk to MDEC, you can talk to MAFI, you can talk to Agro Bank, because these financing schemes are available now for you. Up to 1 million, 10 years, 3.5%. I think that's wonderful. More to come. Stay tuned. Yes, that's the wrap up bit of it from my end. But through technology, to share a little bit more from MDEC perspective, from our pilots, we have seen an improvement about 20 to 30% improvement of income. Now people always say, yeah, all of us talk about 20%, 30%, but what does that mean to a farmer? So to all my farming friends out there, or family friends, I would rather say, you are now able to earn about 2,000 ringgit extra every month per acre. To a farmer, that's what he needs to know, right? Because you talk about percentages, I mean, to my farming friends, that means nothing. Yeah. Now, 2,000 ringgit extra every month minimum, I think that's a wonderful start. You can talk to us, happy to explore further with you guys. We are here to support, but like what Encik Reza said, we cannot do this alone. Agro Bank, Norwegian Bank, MDEC, MAFI, we need everyone to come on board to support. So thank you, Reza, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Navin. Encik Taufik, do you have any thoughts on the question?
Well, I think Navin covered most of them. I just wanted to add a little bit. There are 2 things that, based on my note here, what Navin has mentioned, which is very much relevant. Basically, yield and also scalability. And he also mentioned about the economics, how much basically farmers get at the end of the day. So bottom line is agriculture is a business. Agriculture is not a welfare not for welfare operators. We are all business people. So economics is certainly important. So I think that is a keyword to any technology owners or technology providers out there who wanted to enter into Malaysian market. Please look at this seriously. Look at how we can make technology scalable among farmers whom are mostly, 99.1% of them are micro and SMEs. It is very important. I think from economic standpoint, the marginal increase in the bottom line income that needs to be illustrated. Technology owners cannot be just hardware sellers. They need to have also skin in the game. Those projects that Navin has mentioned, the pilot runs, success stories, all that need to be illustrated so that we will be able to get more demand from our farmers in Malaysia. Otherwise, they don't see a point why they must make such investments. Why must they borrow from Agrobank 1 million if they don't know how to pay that amount back? So that increase in the marginal benefits that they will be getting, that is really key for any technology owners out there to justify, for probably a production on a 2 hectare of land. That can be multiplied by 10 to 20 hectares when they adopted some form of technology out there, and the cost is well justified for acquiring such technology, because the yield improved, the quality of produce improved. Therefore, they will be able to get premium price for their agriculture produce. So I think that is very key, the economics aspect of it. If you look at it from demand and supply standpoint, the demand is strong. Our farmers want technology, but the supply side it is important that we supply the approach, how they supply technologies to our market, that needs to be a little bit more innovative and sophisticated. Thank you.
Thank you, Encik Taufik. Now we hop on over to the other side of the pond. Mr. Obata, perhaps you can share with us a little bit of the experience that Japan has in the development of technology and the deployment of technology to your traditional farmers, and how technology has played a role. Same question, but
Yes.
Perhaps some experience sharing.
Yeah, but actually not so much things to add. Navin almost explained about that, but probably our experience says that the pilot program and information sharing would be the most critical things, I believe. So the first, farmers have to be persuaded to try to use that new technology, but in many cases they are quite conservative. So they have to be educated. What's the point of the technology? And just reducing the labor might not be enough, because they have to finance those technology at some point of time. So they have to understand the money worthiness of that investment as well. So the analysis of new technology in terms of money worthiness is very important, because banks have to be persuaded as well before deciding to lend money to the farmers. But at the early stage of the new technology, not so many people would try to spend their own money to test the new technology. So pilot program is pretty much important. So in Japan, Ministry of Agriculture launched the very vast program to try a pilot project throughout Japan. And actually the farmers involved in that project were granted the half of the cost of the new technology, but those farmers have to submit the farming and the management data to the government. So the government analyzed the money worthiness of the investment, and now government is trying to explain what's the beauty of certain technology and what is not so good, or those kind of things. And the probably with those information, more banks would be ready to lend money to those farmers. At this moment, not so much clear things, but I hope these findings would facilitate investment in Japan.
Thank you, Mr. Obata. So I think the two key takeaways that I got from all your explanations is that maybe one, tech companies that want to come into the agriculture industry will probably have to do more than just try to be a hardware provider, right? You have to actually come up with services that are long-term, that are able to cater to the needs of the farmer, and that can be localized to a certain extent for the use of each individual farmer. I think that's something that we have seen very little of in the market, and that hopefully that is something that will change as volume grows, right? The other thing is that I see the need for more data collection. As Mr. Obata has said, what the Japanese government did was with the grant or with the subsidy that was given, the farmers actually had to report back what their improvements were, what the benefits were, and from there, I think we've done a little bit of this with entities like MDEC, entities like MAFI and DOA, but perhaps more has to be done on a commercial scale. Yeah. So thank you, gentlemen. We move on to the next question, and I think this is something that is a little bit new to the Malaysian market. The concept of having crop insurance for smallholder farmers. Yeah. So this may be the norm in many developed countries where agriculture is big business, because farmers are seen as a very stable, agriculture is seen as a very stable business model to have. Yeah. So here in Malaysia, is there a way for us to provide this protection mechanism to our Malaysian smallholder farmers so that they too may have a safety net that is not necessarily or primarily borne by the government? Can this become a commercial concern for smallholder farmers? For perspective, our smallholder farmers range from 1 to 5 acres in size. Yeah. So I open this to the floor. Maybe Encik Taufik, you have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, what a coincidence that I think if you follow the news, Agrobank have actually been working closely with MAFI, Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries, as well as Bank Negara Malaysia to come out with a scheme, a takaful scheme for farms. And to begin with, we will be focusing on paddy, and the scheme is currently under development with our strategic partners. And the objective is basically to provide a safety net, as you rightly point out. And we also, being a development financial institution, we also need to make sure that the scheme is affordable for farmers, and it has to adequately provide the basic coverage on the production costs that the farmers incurred for every season. And this is currently under development, and we hope to be able to make it a public announcement soon once we receive clearance from the regulators. We have seen we recognize the importance of having takaful in Malaysia, especially for agriculture sector. And application of takaful for agriculture sector need not just be for the purpose of protecting the investments that they have made in the form of production costs, but also to provide a guarantee as well as protection on yield as well as the income fluctuations that the farmers are basically having. Agriculture sector inherently is a high risk sector that is given the business risk is high, and therefore certainly takaful or insurance for conventional in conventional terms are basically what the farmers need to make sure that whatever investments that they put in will be sufficiently covered. And over and above that, takaful also has a role to ensure that we continue to have FDIs and DDIs into the economy, especially for agriculture sector, because the investors would certainly need to get assurance that whatever the investments that they make are adequately covered and assets are being protected. So that's all I can share for now. We hope to be able to reveal more information about this moving forward, inshallah.
Thank you, Encik Taufik. Two big bombshells today that has been shared from AgroBank. Thank you so much. Encik Navin, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, thank you so much. Now, to be very frank, when you tell people about crop insurance, 2 years ago they would say, not really. I mean, the focus will more on operational. But then 2 years ago, a lot of things changed our lives. Say COVID, then came flood, came other natural disasters, which kind of affected production for farmers. That's when it raised a concern that there should be some form of, the right word is safety net for farmers. And the right way to do this, which we have actually benchmarked with developing countries, say Netherlands, Thailand, China, India, who is the big boys in the digital agriculture space, crop insurance was the key focus area. Last year, if you remember, MAFI, Lembaga Pertubuhan Peladang, the National Federation of Farmers, together with AgroBank and supported by MDEC, we launched a card called Peladang I. This Peladang I card was given to every single registered farmers all across Malaysia. These are registered farmers under Association of Farmers called PPK. Obatasan, I know this is going to sound very weird, but I'm going to try it anyway. PPK stands for Pertubuhan Peladang Kawasan, or in English is called Association of Farmers. In Malaysia, there's about 280 Association of Farmers. Each state has about 20 to 30. Each association about 50 to 3,000 members. Yeah. So these are Association of Farmers, and they all report to LPP, the National Federation of Farmers. Yeah. Now, this Peladang I card, just to top up what Tuan Taufik said earlier, this Peladang I card was given to farmers so that ministry can track their productivity, the levels of subsidies given, and the top of that, each of these cards also entitles the farmer to get a 5,000 ringgit insurance. Now, this is not crop insurance, but this is personal insurance, right? However, that card was a foundation. Why? One of the partners for the card was takaful, like Tuan Taufik said. Takaful is one of the most esteemed farmers in terms of providing insurance, crop insurance per se. Yeah. So that's why we're trying to see now whether we can incorporate that into the same Peladang I card, or develop some sort of program which complements each other, because that card already has insurance model incorporated inside. So can the crop insurance be factored inside? That's one model. But like Tuan Taufik said, I think the program is under development stage because we realize the importance of the crop insurance. See, as humans, we all have insurance. Why? Safety nets. And together for farmers too, an additional crucial insurance that they need to consider is crop insurance. Because no tech, natural disasters are here to stay too. Yeah, but yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Navin.
Thank you.
Mr. Obata, maybe you can share some experience of how crop insurance is handled in Japan. I know that it's not your specialty, but perhaps if you have some comments on this question.
Yes. In Japan, government runs two types of safety net for farmers. One is crop protection, crop insurance, and the other is income insurance. And the income insurance is a little bit new to farmers. It was introduced 2 years ago, but the crop insurance has a long history. So almost all farmers can buy the crop insurance if they want, and the premium is pretty low, and the character of the insurance or policy of the insurance is pretty simple. I think those are the beauty of the services run by government. So there might be some room for private insurance companies to come into the crop insurance space, but at this moment, no major insurance companies, private insurance companies are selling the crop insurance. I know big Japanese insurance companies, subsidiaries are selling crop insurance in United States or other parts of the world, but not in Japan at this moment. And actually, as Navi explained, because of the increased frequency of the extreme weather, the need for some kind of a safety net would be increasingly important, I believe. So that kind of safety net itself would be more important for farmers, even in Japan, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Obata. So we move on to another question. I think this is something that's on the mind of many of our attendees. I see that there are a lot of questions regarding the specifics of the financing packages. I think I can refer you to the website of AgroBank and of our other maybe MDEX website as well to get more details on that. But let's go on to a bigger question. Financing in financing in agriculture is a very big issue. We want to have the ability to finance tech adoption, and I think some of this has been addressed by both Cik Taufik, Mr. Navin, and Mr. Obata. How can we provide this type of assistance, this type of funding, this type of access to financing to farmers who, for the most part, may not be banked or do not have the necessary documents or qualifications to get a commercial loan? Is that something that we can address by either changing the standards that we currently use to assess our farmers, or is that something that we can? Is there something that we can do as a system that will allow these type of farmers to get access to funds? This morning we had a session with EOS, who were offering satellite-based remote monitoring system, and one of the applications in other parts of the world for this type of satellite monitoring is actually to assess the risk of providing loans to certain farmers, to certain farms, and also for risk assessment of insurance. So these type of new technologies are coming up. What are your thoughts on this? Can we look at new ways of addressing the unbanked farmer issue? Whoever would like to go first.
Maybe I can start, but I think the best person to answer this will be Tuan Taufik. So I'm going to give him the limelight. I'm just going to start it off for him. Now, that's going to be a challenge. Now, why? Because there are a lot of new farmers who just ventured, who has not been in operation, who does not have the 6 months of financial records as generally requested by the banks. Yeah. But now, for the first thing, whenever we look at MDEC, when we look at digital agriculture pilot projects, the first thing we advise people is please register yourself as under an association of farmers, or the PPKs, or the cooperatives. Why? Now, whenever you are registered under a PPK or a cooperative or an association of farmers registered under MAFI, Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries. Now, we know of most of the PPKs are also contract farmers basis. Now, what I'm trying to get into is, if you are a registered farmer under that association, then there's a lot of chances where the association becomes the guarantor for you. I'll give you one example. The very first pilot project that we did was actually with PPK Kuala Langat, based in Banting, Selangor. Yeah, one of the partners that we have actually walked the journey with. Happy to shout out to them, along with other PPKs too. Now, PPK Kuala Langat is very interesting because they are a contract farmer. So even if you're new or old, no, doesn't matter. As long as you're registered, even though you don't have the bank record documentation requirements, they can be a guarantor. But again, to stress, not all the PPKs have the same model. Yeah, there's the contract farming models. So that's one model. So first thing first, please register yourself under a farming association. And then that would be a guarantee basis, at least some form of potential guarantee basis for you to go to the banks for approval. But just to echo the last line before I hand it over to Tuan Taufik, yes, Agro Bank specifically is looking at reducing the margins of the requirements. Last time we have 6 months and all that, but yes, these are currently being looked at. Over to you, Tuan Taufik. I will help Reza to pass it over to you, Pla.
Thank you, Naveen. Thank you. I think this is a very important question for those who look for financing but you don't have sufficient credit experience, you don't have secrets, or you probably had bad experience before but you're now okay and wanted to go into agriculture. So we have seen many Reza, Naveen, and Mr. Obata clients like this, and we welcome them. Being a development financial institution, we welcome those that are unbankable. We don't call them unbankable, we call them underserved or unserved customers. And in AgroBank, we have two types of program structures. For those that are not within that segments of underserved or unserved category, they will be put under the normal route, basically financing route, where they will be processed, their financing application will be processed similar like others. They can walk into our branches and they can submit on a standalone basis. For those that you term it as an unbankable segments. So the unbankable segments, we have internally programs that we structured under the Anchor farming program. So for the Anchor farming program, the applicants will be put under specific anchor companies. These specific anchor companies are basically established and well-do companies that run programs, financing programs together with AgroBank. So they provide the purchase undertaking for whatever production agriculture produce that those farmers under the anchor companies provide, and that provide assurance of a market for the farmers, as well as price protection, because most of the time the price is locked upfront in the agreement. So by doing that, we will be able to finance those farmers and make sure that we get our repayments as well through the ring fencing by the anchor companies. And not just that, in AgroBank, we also do lots of entrepreneurial development programs. We do trainings to the extent to the most basic trainings, like you don't know how to develop a business plan. You don't even know how to come up with a cash buku tunai or cash account. You don't know how to do it. Come to AgroBank, or you can email us at centerofexcellence@agrobank.com.my, CENTRE of excellence, @agrobank.com.my. Please register your interest. We also have lots of programs on our websites and also Facebook. Please look at them. We run programs every month nationwide. So please feel free to register your interest if you would like to improve yourself in terms of business management and financial management skills. By doing that, we hope that we will be able to prepare those unbankable customers to be a little bit more bankable, and documents are more structured and organized at the point when they submit their official application to AgroBank. That's how we ensure that the support system is right for those that are unbankable. That is basically how we do it in AgroBank. Thank you, Reza.
Thank you, Encik Taufik. Mr. Obata, do you have any comments on the issue?
Yes, just a brief comments. Actually, we cannot skip the certain level of documentation or procedure because the banks are supervised by the government. So we have to study the great worthiness of the borrowers. That we cannot avoid. But generally speaking, leasing companies are a bit more aggressive than banks to provide services to the farmers. So in some cases, leasing companies are sharing the machinery or appliances to the farmers, but actually the fees are a little bit fatter than the bank loans. So and that's the source of the profit for leasing companies. But in Japan, those things are quite oftenly observed. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Obata. So I have another question here, I think specific to AgroBank, but I suppose I think MDEC will have a good answer to this as well, from Mr. Ethan Kong. Any digital transformation training for working professionals, and are the trainings free? I think you touched a little bit on this, but perhaps not on digital transformation training. Yeah.
Right. In AgroBank, through our Center of Excellence, we do run such programs. One of the example is basically zero-cost marketing. This is basically making use of social medias and also all other platforms to market their products. And I don't mind also sharing, we got quite a number of success stories already since we run this program during the pandemic situation last 2 years. We got one of our customers who used to be getting only 800 ringgit turnover a month, has actually increased from the 800 ringgit to 5,600 ringgit a month after going through our trainings. And almost 80% of the turnovers are basically coming from those social media marketings that they have provided after going through our programs. So we do run such programs as well for those who are interested to digitalize your marketing strategies beyond just using the physical setups. Please feel free again to register your interest on our and send an email to centerofexcellence@agrobank.com.my. We will be more than happy to offer you such programs. And we run these. Some programs are free, definitely. I think most of them are free. More sophisticated or advanced programs are a little bit, we require some fees, but they're not as expensive as other training providers in the country. And we do this for customers and non-customers of AgroBank. But we hope that when you get those free trainings, please be with us, at least open an account with AgroBank. We welcome you on board and be part of our family. Thank you.
Thank you, Encik Taufik. Encik Navin, do you have any, maybe you can share some of the courses that MDEC has as well, because I know that you do a lot in this space as well.
So Ethan, I was about to reply, but then you addressed the question to AgroBank, so I did not. But yeah, Chief, for you to know, MDEC, the current e-ladang or digital AgTech trainings are for farmers or registered individuals under a farming association. So, and these trainings are provided at a cost, but again, it's a cost that can be subsidized. Yeah. So say now for working professional, there is not such a specific for agriculture technology specifically. So you have to register yourself under a PPK for 10 ringgit, and then you're automatically eligible for digital AgTech trainings. So that's the model we work in AgTech. However, I know that's not going to make you happy, but to make you happy, we are actually working with HRD Corp right now, right, as we speak. So I know that isn't much of a big announcement, but so we are working with HRD Corp where we are developing trainings for working individuals who want to know about or go into agriculture space. So trainings in terms of practical and theoretical trainings, where then you can subsidize it through investment by HRD Corp. So that is in the development phase. Hopefully by the next few months, we will launch it, or HRD Corp will launch it, supported by us. Yeah. But for now, if you want to go jump into immediate trainings, yeah, please register yourself under PPK, and then you can enroll yourself under these training programs.
Thank you, sir. So I think we're coming up to the end of the session. What maybe we can have one more short roundup. Perhaps because I see a lot of questions on the specifics of some of the agro bank financing packages. So perhaps Tuan Taufik, if you don't mind sharing a little bit more about who should apply and how they can apply, what is the window of approvals, when they can expect to be approved, and these sort of things. Cik Taufik, I know it's to ask a banker that it's very it's a very difficult process because you have to go through your committees. But what's the expected timeline for the approval from the point of application to approval and disbursement?
Right. So financing application can be submitted through our branches. You don't have to be in Kuala Lumpur to make submission of your application, financing application. We have a total of more than 180 touch points nationwide. We are almost in every district in Malaysia, even in districts where, with no banks, we are there. So we are always reachable physically. The documents that you will require, you can look at the documents required on our websites. Our websites are quite detailed in terms of the specific products and programs that we have in the bank. You can get lots of information on the website. In terms of timing required for microfinancing, usually customers will be able to get at the point of first contact and also full submission of documents. Usually will take about 7 to 10 days for the customers to get their money, the financing to be disbursed. For commercial and corporate entities, this is a little bit more longer. The usual average is basically 2 months on case-to-case basis before the customer will get money. So at the point of first contact and full submission, in 2 months' time, the customer will be able to get the money, inshallah. But that is assuming that we have, of course, it's a perfect submission, meaning it's a perfect documentation, a perfect scenario. We also do, as per your previous question about those that are unbankable, underserved, and unserved. These are a little bit more complicated customers with additional documents required. Certain documents need to be redo and prepared better for the purpose of making sure that it's a complete application submitted. So this usually will take a little bit longer than 2 months. So we hope that answers the question. Anyone can basically apply. Startups, you can make your submission as well, but not startups that I mean the $2 ringgit company or fly overnight companies. That certainly no. I think especially the subject we're speaking today is about technology. There must be also equity participation from the owner of the business, from the sponsors, and also please look at the key man risk for those who is applying, who will be running as the operator. Those are the basic information that we usually ask for in every application that we receive from customers. So please come prepared, and if you don't have those information, also please come and approach us. We will prepare you so that you will be able to answer us, our credit officers nationwide. We have more than 600 credit officers nationwide, Rizal, ready and more than willing to listen to any application that our customers would like to make. So please feel free to approach us. Thank you.
That is very good to hear. Thank you so much, Taufik. I think we are running out of time. So perhaps my final question, maybe a short summary from each of our speakers. What are your hopes for technology adoption in the Malaysian context? I think that would be a very simple roundup for us. What are your hopes for technology adoption in the agriculture sector in the Malaysian context? After being in this panel and seeing some of the concerns that our attendees have, I open the floor to Mr. Obata first. I know he's probably not very in the Malaysian context, but I think the perspective of our Japanese friends have been very illuminating. Yeah, Mr. Obata.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the Malaysian situation, but the as to the technology in the future, I hope those technology would help farmers to actually be freed from any trouble of managing technology itself. So there are lots of technologies available for farmers, but the farmers are reluctant to use them. But if they use, that would be quite effective. But there might be some hurdles for farmers to start using that. So I hope that part will be improved by future technologists that will accelerate the adoption of technologies quite a lot. That's my hope.
Thank you, Mr. Obata. Mr. Navin?
I'm going to make this as frank as possible. Probably if you asked me this about 2018, this was more of a vision, not really a dream, but a vision, hoping to get there. But COVID came, it changed perceptions, it changed routes, changed direction, where now if you ask me, where are we heading in the digital tech space for Malaysia, at an accelerating state. Why? During COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs, elderly folks who needed extra source of income. The younger generation, again, no offense, who went into food delivery business, because for them, it's quick money. Yeah, because why? Agriculture was perceived as 3D, dirty, difficult, dangerous. Yeah, but now, to be very frank, from MDEC side, on a yearly basis, we get close to 1,000 inquiries on people who says they lost their job, younger generation, women, who wants to venture into an additional source of income. So we welcome all of them to tell them to go into agriculture. Now, you and I or everyone knows that the only thing that's going to make digital agriculture or agriculture sexy is through digital infusion. So now Malaysia is going in an accelerating mode whereby last time you can count pilots, probably 2 in a state. Now there's so many through different ministries, different agencies, companies such as REDtone. Great solutions are going on. Now the approach for us is to consolidate all of them, right? Where MDEC does a lot of pilot validation for the technology under program Modernisasi Kebangsaan, and we funnel them to Agro Bank and PAFI for financing schemes. So technology is being validated, projects are being approved and all that. We oversee all that. If you want to know about projects, agriculture space, come and talk to us. If you want to know about financing, you can talk to Agro Bank. If you want to know further, you can talk to any one of us. Like Tuan Taufik said, we can't do this alone. But very, very happy, more than excited, because now when we tell farmers, few years ago when I went to farming ground, we were laughed like, tak payahlah, I rather get foreign entities to work on my farm. But now they say, Cik Navin, I nak yang tekan dalam phone lah. That's their word lah. I nak yang dalam tekan dalam phone. What they mean is IoT, right?
Yeah.
IoT does not mean you touch on your phone, like what Rizal said, but there's sensor elements, there's data. Farmers realize the importance. So well done, Malaysia. We are heading in the right spot. I am looking at 2030 to at least get 90% or at least 80% of farmers throughout the nation to adopt digital agriculture technology. So I know AirAsia, capital A says everyone can fly with us. We collaborative say, let's farm with us digitally.
Thank you, Mr. Navin. We hope that we don't get copyrighted after this. Encik Taufik, your thoughts, sir?
Right. Okay, two major trends is happening in the country, especially, not just in the country, globally as well, as far as agriculture sector is concerned. If you look at agriculture sector, at least in the context of Malaysia, this has changed in terms of the profile. It used to be a profile of an economic sector that are meant for social inclusion purposes, to provide an alternative employment opportunity for those who are not able to enter into the job market. They can go to agriculture sector. So it's social inclusion for the B40s, for the lower income group. And another area is basically, if you look at the past 5 to 6 years, this has changed. This profile has changed. And if you look at the RMK 12 document, the country is basically projecting for agriculture sector to grow at an annual rate of 3.8%. That is even higher than some of the major economic sectors that used to be contributing to the national GDP. The composition of agriculture sector also is improving. Primary agriculture alone is currently at 8 to 9%, and that is without taking into consideration the element of agriculture in the manufacturing economy sector. That probably, if you look at the value chain, the higher towards the end of the value chain, you get a higher value. So it is not a wrong estimate to assume that that 8 to 9% primary agriculture contribution is probably a double of that figure if we take into account manufacturing. So in total, agriculture probably is contributing, including the support sectors for the retail and downstream activities, probably are contributing already a sum of 20% of the total national GDP. That, to me, is an important statistic for us to recognize that agriculture sector is not as
I'm sorry. I think we've just lost Encik Taufik. Let's see whether we can get him back in the next 2 seconds. No, no, that's fine. I think what Encik Taufik, Encik Navin, Mr. Obata, everything that we've discussed today has been fantastic. I think it is a real eye-opener to see it from the perspective of our financial sector as well as from the policymakers. Yeah, I would like to sum up to say that I think in the near future, we expect the volume of deployments, the number of deployments of smart agriculture technology to increase exponentially. Certainly, tech providers like REDtone are waiting for that, because I think we have looked at this sector in the past 3 to 4 years, and we can see the opportunity, we can see the ability of the sector to actually transform the course of the nation. And as Encik Taufik and Encik Navin and Mr. Obata have shared, this is something that we need to look at. Thank you so much to our fellow panelists. I know that I've taken a little bit too much of your time. I've actually also taken up a little bit more time than what is expected. I apologize to our next session as well. I would like to make a note that Mr. Obata-san was actually brought in by our friends from JETRO. JETRO is a Japanese government agency focusing on external trade and investment. They provide free consultation services to help our Malaysian companies set up offices in Japan. So We will actually drop their contact information in the chat. Feel free to contact Jetro KL at any time should you have any business opportunities to do with our Japanese friends. Again, gentlemen, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. We will continue with our next session in the next few minutes. I think it'll be a 2-minute break, 3-minute break, and we will go on to our next session, which is tech-savvy future farmers redefining farming. We will be talking to a lot of young farmers as well as policymakers from MAFI who will be discussing the future direction of our young farmers. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you, guys. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Thank you.
Salam Tani, salam sejahtera. Thank you, Reza. Thank you, REDtone. Bye-bye. Obatasan, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.